Howdy guys, good to see you again. Remember from last time we talked about the fat overlean principle and why you should do that in order to have a durable result. And today I would like to start with different possibilities to build up your painting fat over lean. So let's draw a cross section here of a ground canvas, for example, or whatever it is, as long as it's prepared for the adherence of oil. And one way to paint fat over lean is we start with a lot of water. So I got my brush, got some paint, use a lot of water and a little bit of paint and make a very, very lean layer. So that will be our first layer, right? Now, when that layer is dry enough, and I mean really dry enough, that it definitely does not mix anymore with next layer, then we're going to thin our water with our paint, with less water. So I got already a mixture here, I add more paint. So this mixture now contains more oil, because there's more paint, than the first layer. And we will build up we paint the second layer with this paint. It's still thinned, yeah, but there's more oil because there's more paint. And some of the oil will be absorbed by the first layer. That's good because then we will have an adherence of the second layer. And when that second layer definitely is so dry that it does not mix anymore with the third layer, we mix the paint with, again, less water. And build up a painting with a paint that is fatter. And then when the fourth layer is the last one, we can use pure oil color. And every layer now contains more oil than the previous one. So this is one way to build up a painting fat over lean. But maybe you don't want to finish your painting with pure paint. You see, pure paint has structure. Maybe you want to make a painting with only very, very smooth layers. Then there's another possibility. We start with the ground again, well prepared and all. First layer, like over there. Lots of water, make it lean. Oh, it doesn't get through the preparation. Make it lean. And then, when we want to continue with very smooth layers, now we're going to mix the paint with the Cobra painting medium. Cobra painting medium is a mixture of the oil of the Cobra with the possibility to emulsify, water 50%, and resin inside to make the paint film more durable, stronger. When I add this painting medium to my paint, pour some in my cup over there. I thin my paint, but since I'm adding oil, I make my paint film fatter, meaning more elastic. So on top of that, there will be a second layer with the painting medium. You see there's hardly any difference here that you can see because the medium makes the paint also very thin. But still it's fat over lean. Suppose we want to paint in more layers than two. Then we have the possibility to mix water and the medium in different proportions and build up your painting thinned with a medium that gets fatter every layer. So we start. Little bit of medium. Lots of water. Yeah? You see it gets white. That's because it's an emulsion. Emulsions are white. But you won't notice in the paint. Now, stir it around a little bit, mix it well. So this mixture we will use after the first layer with a lot of water. Yeah? It still contains a lot of water, but a little bit of oil, it's somewhat greasier than the first layer. After the second layer is dry enough, we make this medium a little bit fatter. Mix it well. So this contains more oil than the second layer. If there's a fourth layer, make it even greasier, etc. Yeah? So also with water and medium we can play and following the rule fat over lean. Whether we paint like this, or even a la prima, just one layer, it's possible, when the painting is dry enough, to apply a glazing layer on top of your painting. Glazing means the application of very transparent layers of paint. Remember, you can see on the tube if a color is transparent or opaque. So in this case we take the transparent colors, and when we want to put a glazing layer on top of our painting, and why would we do that? Maybe because we're not completely satisfied about some color of a subject and we want to make it a little bit more saturated, stronger, and we do not want to overpaint the whole subject. Yeah? In that case you can apply some glazing layers. For that technique, for that application, we have the Cobra glazing medium. And the Cobra glazing medium is actually the same as the painting medium, but without the water. It's only the oil with the possibility to emulsify and the resin, right? So this is much fatter, much more elastic than the painting medium. And we can use this to follow up on the fat over lean rule and apply transparent layers for some places of my painting. Another way to work with the glazing medium is not on top of a colored painting, but on top of an underpainting. I got it here. Completely made in black and white, actually, and we're going to use the glazes to give color to our painting. So here we're going to put some transparent colors. We just need a little bit of color now. We're going to put some glazing medium in the other cup. We're going to get us a nice clean brush. And we mix our paint with a little bit of pigment. Now this is really greasy stuff. Makes it very smooth mixture. And you see glazing like this. The subject or the underpainting, the shapes don't change. It's like a piece of colored glass that you put on a certain picture. Only the colors change, not the picture itself. Now this glazing medium, it flows out without any brush stroke. It makes an even layer. And that's what a glazing medium should be like, because through the glaze, of course, you see the brush stroke of the underpainting. So there should not be any disturbing brush stroke visible in the glaze. And actually I'm painting wet in wet now with glazing. For glazing it's better to use a soft brush. I use a synthetic one right now. It's not too soft, but it spreads out the paint evenly. Now, if you would like to apply several glazing layers, That's also possible. The glazing medium is about twice as greasy as the normal medium. So if the last layer was, for example, with a normal medium, when it's dry enough, you start glazing, then you can thin your glazing medium down with, let's say, about 40% of water, and it'll still be more greasy than the painting medium, right? So by adding less water and again less water, you can also build up your glazing layers from, to start with pretty fat to even fatter, right? And so on and so on. Since Cobra is water mixable, there's also a possibility to make a painting that looks like a watercolor painting. Water flows in a very different way than spirits, you know. So there's only one thing: if we make a mixture like this, very thin, with a lot of water, there's hardly any oil in this mixture, which means that pigments might not be protected by a protective coat of oil. And if this is the only thing you do, and it's not overpainted later with feather paint with more oil to protect the pigment, then it's very well possible that the pigments in this mixture, this very thin mixture, that the pigments are not protected anymore. So in this case, if we work like this for the last layer, we'd better add some medium to our water. For example, about 20%. Now we've added some binder to the water to protect the pigments. And you see, you can make washes just like working with watercolor. And in this case, of course, you'd better work flat. So actually, with Cobra, we have a whole lot of possibilities, different ways to apply the paint, you know, from watercolor-like techniques to the layer techniques, the alla prima techniques with brushes, but also, of course, really impasto. With a knife, for example, making heavy structures without having to be worried about any smell, especially with these thin techniques here, you know, like a watercolor. With traditional, you would have a lot of evaporation of terps. Now, whatever technique we're using, painting with Cobra, like a watercolor wash or very thick with a knife or alla prima or layered, whatever, there will be a moment that your picture is finished, your painting is done. And then after some time there will be a moment that the paint is dry to the touch. But this does not mean that it's completely dry. For a normal paint layer, it'll take about a year to really dry outside and inside. And at that moment, the oxidation of the oil does not stop, it goes on forever and forever. And there will be a moment that the aging process of the paint film starts. And then after many years, then small cracks can appear in your paint. And when they become visible for the human eye, you know, then we say, how beautiful it's an old painting, it's cracking. But actually the painting is destroying itself. So what we do after complete drying of the paint, so a normal paint layer after a year more or less, we apply a varnish. With that varnish we close our oil from consuming oxygen and protect our painting from aging. You can never stop it completely, but you can slow it down. So for Cobra we have 3 different varnishes. There's a glossy one, a satin one and a matte one. In spray cans, very comfortable. And well, let's say we like the satin look. We take the spray can and we have to shake it. In the satin varnish there is a matting agent. Whenever there's a matting agent, like in the matte varnish, we have to divide the matting agent very well in the varnish. That's why the bullet is inside, to mix it. The glossy one does not have that. You hear nothing, right? But with the matte one and the satin one, we have to shake it very well. And then, from a distance of about 40 centimeters, which is more or less, let's say, 13 inches, we apply it. First try it in the air, see if it's really coming out in an equal way. Don't spray too much, because it might drip. We can also put the painting flat if we want to, and just let the varnish come down on it, you know, like this. Then put it away, keep it safe from dust, let it dry. It'll be dry to the touch within an hour or something. And then give it some more time to completely dry and get hard. Well guys, that was today's episode about painting techniques. I hope I explained everything. Whenever there's questions, you know, you can visit our website, put any question you want.